Hello, it is the Trading Captain, and I'm currently sitting up $20.91 on the day. Now, while today was okay, I do want to say there were some issues, and I need to resolve them before going into next week's trading. So let me pull up the spreadsheet and show you what I'm talking about here. So I took 2 trades today, very slow day overall. We'll get into the actual market analysis in a moment, but I want to talk about my sizing today, why it was different, and what I need to adjust. So yesterday, I was trading with what I believe to be too small size. Some people correctly pointed out that I was not utilizing all of my capital, and this is true. I didn't even use 1/5 of it yesterday, even after taking 3 trades. So today, I sized up about 2.5x my normal size. And you can see here, as a result, these trades were much higher size. The total cost was much higher. And for a $5,000 account, I am typically, in general, aiming for a 0.2% return. That is the goal each day. And with this size, I personally believe that this is too much. So let me go ahead and go back to my actual results. And as you can see, I am currently sitting up 0.42%, which is way above my average or my goal. And in addition to that, I only took 2 trades, and these trades were not base hits. They were relatively break even, slightly profitable. So if I only took 2 trades and they were only slightly profitable, yet I over doubled my daily goal, this is a clear signal that I am sized too high. Now, unfortunately, the reality is that I will not be able to utilize my capital if there is not opportunity. It is not worth sizing up if you're just going to trade crap. So I am going to be sizing down slightly. I think that the sizing was close to correct, but it needs to be down regulated just a little bit. So going into next week, I will be reducing size slightly, still going to keep it elevated, but it's going to be less so than today. So let's go ahead and talk about the actual day today, because this is, it's going to be pretty short. So we had a couple stocks that we were watching, KAVS, IBIO, APVO. I don't want to really spend too much time on them, more so just to say that a lot of these stocks, whether this one isn't a great example, but we had a lot of other stocks where the prices were relatively low, $2.50 or less usually. We had GP, for example, that was $1. We had a lot of cheaper stocks that had higher floats, and these stocks in general just made it very difficult to trade. They were very choppy, very hard to get any actual movement from them. And of the stocks that we did have to move, I was on it earlier, APVO. This one had a nice move, spiked up, but it sold off and gave back the entire move. Realistically, we didn't have anything, from what I could tell, that held up really well other than PAVS. And even this one, it gave back most of the move during the day. So as far as actually holding the move through pre-market and the day session, we didn't really have any of that. Now, as for the 2 trades I did take, we'll go ahead and go over them here. LRHC, this was one I was watching here early on. We had this nice pullback, volume was dropping off. I thought, okay, we had high volume on the push up, low volume on the pullback. I went ahead and tried to take a position here, but I got in too early. And realistically, I probably shouldn't have done what I did. I went ahead and added here as we saw the volume was continuing to go down. But in general, I think it is a mistake to add if you do not explicitly and implicitly make sure that that is what your plan was, right? I did not verbally say, hey, I'm thinking about adding if this drops further. I did not internally think, hey, I'm going to add if this drops lower. So in my eyes, this was a mistake. I got bailed out because this did curl. Now, granted, I only held for about half or 2/3 of this move back up, but realistically, this should have been a small loss. And in some ways, I could say maybe I was punished for adding here by getting a small win. So one thing to think about whenever you're in a trade is, did you plan to enter and add where you did? If the answer is no, then that is a red flag that you are emotionally trading, or you are not thinking through your strategy enough whenever you're thinking of the trade. I think that this was a mistake here. I should have cut the trade, or alternatively, I should have just held. I should not have added, right? I was in the trade because the volume was continuing to decline and it looked strong. All of my signals were still firing and saying it was good, but I don't think adding was correct there, because that is going against what I was saying, which is do not add if you do not pre-plan to add. So that was that trade. We'll go ahead and go over the other one, APVO. This was one I was watching on the side during the day as I was doing my positions, and I saw that we had this breakdown here. Looked very good for an entry, so I went ahead and bought here, and we did get a nice curl. So I got a nice little hit on that as well. And yeah, other than that, we didn't really have anything else really move. Like I said, it was pretty slow today. It is Friday after all. Not a lot of the stocks that move had any real volatility behind them. The volume was there on some of them, but because they were higher flows and because they were lower price in general, they just didn't really move well. And yeah, I pretty much just sat it out for the most part. So that pretty much wraps up my recap. If you'd like what you saw here, please do leave a like. Helps me out. And I will be back next week. Take care, everybody.